Hello and welcome. I recorded a couple of Next War Poland video last time, so I decided to move to some other game, to not stay with one system only. And today I would like to make a video about Ardennes 2024, the first game of the World War II system released by the Taktika and Strategia. And I'm going to play a third scenario of this game titled Peyperov, in which Russians are performing their strike on Liège. It is one of the small scenarios for these games. As for this game, I already recorded a tutorial video about the basics of the rules of this system, so I'm not going to explain everything in such a detailed way as I did there. So if you want some more detailed and rules-wise video, check my other video about this game. And here I'm gonna focus on the playthrough only. And this scenario takes 10 turns, so it's quite not a very short maybe, but we have only a small Russian task force here, including 3 armored brigades, and 2 of them are guards brigade, while 1 is regular, supported by the 1, 2, 3, 4 mechanized brigade and 1 artillery brigade. And all these Russians are running against Belgian mechanized brigades. As you can see, Russians are much stronger because they have 3 armored units, including 2 very good guards brigades, while Belgians have only a number of light motorized battalions that are using wheeled infantry fighting vehicles, 1 infantry battalion and 1 artillery battalion, so that's not much. There is also 1 single Polish airborne battalion in Liège, but it's still not a biggest force, so it will be a hard thing to do for allies to defend their positions against such a big attack of Russian army. But terrain works in favor of the defender because we have Elsenborn mountains here. There is a lot of hills, forests, some rivers, so maybe Belgians will be able to use this terrain on their favor and to stop Russians before they will reach Liège, or maybe even they will suffer such a number of losses that will make their attack futile. We will see. At the beginning of the game, Russians have 4 points of air forces and 4 points of combat helicopters, 2 points of electronic warfare and 2 special forces groups, while allies are, at the beginning they are, well, much weaker because they have 1 air force point, 1 combat helicopter point and 1 special forces group. As the game will progress, they will gain more of them, but we have no reinforcements in this scenario, so we have no any other units entering the game than the ones we already have on the board. So that's all when it comes to the, I think, introduction. We can start the game. We are starting game with air phase, and in the air phase players decide how many points of them of their air forces they are going to use. I am going to start with Russians, and they decide to use 1, 2 points. So allies decide to use alone 1 of their air points. So they have 1 air point in total, and they spend 1 of these. Okay, and now I have to make a roll. For Russians, they have 3 plus 2, it gives me 5, and for allies, it's 2 plus 1, it's 3. So Russians have air advantage in this turn. It's good for Russians, since they will be able to use their air forces. And now I have to make a roll for losses because of the anti-air fire. For Russians, it's 3, so they lost 2 of their points. And for allies, it is 2. They lost 2 of their points, and since they have only 1 point, they lost all of them. So that's all when it comes to the air phase. And next we have artillery fire phase. In this phase I can use attacker's artillery to perform strikes on the defender. I can also support this artillery with my air units, or even with special forces or electronic warfare. It's up for player to decide what he's gonna do. I'm going to use this artillery brigade to fire on one of the allied forces, but I can't use it now against any unit that I'm going to attack in the combat phase. So if I'm going to attack this Belgian battalion, and I'm going to do that, I can't fire with artillery in this turn. So let's let's save this or that unit, and let's fire on, for example, this infantry battalion. I'm firing with 5, and I am going to use one special forces group to help targeting this infantry battalion. So I gain +2. I have +2, and next. So let's move to the artillery fire table. It is here. So I have 5. I have +2 columns because of the special forces. So 1, 2, 9, 10. And next I have -1 because of the town. So we move 8. And -1 because of the -2 because of the fortifications, field fortifications, because field fortifications in the buildings give me +2, so 1, 2, and because of the there are hills, I have another +1, so we have 1. No, a small chance to score a hit, but we will try. 9, nothing. So they are safe, and I have to check for special forces, because when you use your special forces, every time you use, you have to make a roll if they survived. 2. If I roll 1 and 3, they are gone. They are eliminated. So that's all when it comes to the artillery fire phase. And next we are going to the movement phase. In this phase I can move my units. When I'm a Russian player, of course. I'm going to start with this tank brigade, and it is on the main road. Main road, which is wide, and I pay 1.5 of movement point to move through the hex with main road, so half and 1, and I have to stay here because there is enemy unit, and this hex is in its zone of control. So I can't move any further. I have to stay, because when you enter enemy zone of control, you can't move any further. I'm using this unit to enter this hex as well, so they will support this attack, and I am going to put strategic movement marker on this hex. Why? Because thanks to this marker I will be able to move after all the combats are resolved. So if I will be able to force this unit to retreat somewhere, or maybe eliminate it, I will be able to move this unit here and there. That's a good option. Okay, next. Here. Well, this is secondary road. For the secondary road I spend 1 movement point for tracked units. So 1, 2, 3. So that's all when it comes to this, and I have still 3 more units to move. Good for them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A limit of the stack is 8 strength levels of the unit. Each unit has 2 strength levels. It is full and halved, so I can effectively stack 4 units of full strength of 1 hex. So that's all, and I'm going to move this unit here just to make sure that, for example, this Belgian battalion won't run somewhere here and attack me from behind, for example, attack my artillery. So that's all when it comes to the movement phase of the Russian player. So let's start combat here. Russians have 15 strength points against 3 points of the Belgian unit. So we have 15 to 3, which gives us 5 to 1, but there are some modifiers. First, Russians are going to spend one of their electronic warfare point, which gives them +1. Going to move to the combat, yes, combat table here. Some counter, please. Let it be here. We had 5 to 1, and because of the electronic warfare we have 6 to 1. Russians have 1 star, so they have 7 to 1. And that's all when it comes to the modifiers for their combat. Now they have allies. Allies have a star, so 1 column shift. They are in the range of their HQ, because HQ has 10 hexes range, so they gain another 1 shift. They are in the fortifications, so they have 1 shift. And they are in the hills. Not in the mountains, because mountains are this dark, but this navy blue is hill, so it gives them +2 in their favor. So we have +2. So we have final odds as 2 to 1, and gonna make a roll. I rolled 2. Wow, that's pretty interesting, because we have -1 B3D. So attacker suffers 1 loss, and if there was a unit with a star in the attacking stack, it has to suffer first loss. So this tank brigade is weakened now, and a defender has to retreat 3 hexes, and it is instantly disorganized. So 1, 2, 3, and I have to place a disorganization counter on this Belgian unit. And thanks to this, attacker might perform a pursuit 1, 2, 3 in the same number of hexes that defender had to retreat. Okay, that's all for this combat. And next we have here, we have 9, 18 and 6. So we have 24. That's quite a big number. Russians are going to support this attack with their artillery. So we have 29, but allies have their artillery as well. Defense support of this artillery battalion is 2. So I give them, so I'm gonna use it. So I have 29 against 5. 29 against 5, and 29 against 5 is 6. So we have 6 to 1. And next, we have 1 star here, so we have +1 shift for Russians. And next, we have 1 star for allies, because of that. And we have fortifications, +1. They are in the mountains, so +3. 1, 2, 3. And finally, because of their HQ, they are in the range, so they have 1. So we have +1. As you can see, attacking in the mountains is not an easy task. So let's make a roll. Again, 2. Wow! Wow. That's something I never expected. So we have -1 B2D. So attacker loses 1 step, and this unit with a star suffers first loss, while a defender has to retreat 2 hexes, 1, 2. You may ask why in that fashion. It is because these hexes with a red triangle are impassable mountains. You can't move your wheeled or tracked units through them. You can only move them through the road. only leg units might move through them. So Russians perform their pursuit, and that's all when it comes to the Russian combat phase. And next one is supply phase, but this phase, we still have a combat phase because of this unit. It now, when all battles are resolved, it can move. So 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5. Why I'm not moving any further? First, because I would like to keep this junction, so this Belgian battalion wouldn't go there. And second, when performing strategic movement, I can't enter enemy zone of control. So I would like to stay here, and that's all when it comes to the actions of the Russians. So we have a supply phase now, but like I said before, we don't have to check for supply in this particular scenario. It ignores these rules. So that's all when it comes to the Russian supply phase. And next we have Allied air phase. This is the second air phase of the game. And in this phase you are not checking for air advantage. This is already set up for Russians for this turn. But I might use my air force, Allied Air Force, to perform any strikes against the enemy. But I have only one point of combat helicopters, so now I'm not going to do that because it would probably go in a waste, and I would like to use these combat helicopters in case I will need them to support my defense. So no, nothing like that. And next I have artillery fire phase. I'm going to use this artillery to fire on this Russian unit, or maybe that. It would be... They are on the hills, yeah, and I'm going to use my NATO special forces to support this operation. So I have 4. I have 4. And I have +2 because of the special forces, and -2 because they are in the hills. So I have +2 and -2, so I have 3, 4. 3. Good. It is D. So they are disorganized. That's great. So their movement will be, well, stopped a bit. And now I'm gonna make a roll for this, my special forces group. It is 4, so it survived. It is moved to the after action box, and it will be available further. So that's all when it comes to the Allied artillery fire. And next we have Allied movement phase. I have to move this disorganized unit far, so that it will be able to recover somewhere. It won't be easy because to recover it has to not perform any movement nor combat for the one entire turn. So you can see it can be a problem. So it is a main road, and for the main road, for the wheeled unit, you pay a third part of the movement point. So third, 1/3, 2 of third, 1. 1 and 1 of third, 2 and 1 and 2 of third, 2. And I think I will eventually move to the Snokes. So that would be quite far from them. And next I have now I have an open road on the leash for Russians. I have to do something for that, and I have this battalion here. So half, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. They will try to stop Russians in here. Maybe they will be able to do it. I'm not quite sure, but let them try. And next, this. It is a problem because I can't enter this hex. It is in the enemy zone of control, and you can see these are hills and this is mountain. So I have to move down the hills, and for the wheeled unit I have to pay 3 movement points per hills hex. So 3, 6, 7, 8. Going to stay here, and that's all for allies, I guess. But well, I have this battalion here, and this is not it is not on the position when it's needed, so maybe I might use it somewhere else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let them be here, or maybe even here. They will be stronger. Okay, that's all when it comes to the Allied movement phase, and allies are not attacking, so that's all for the turn 1. Okay, so let's play turn 2. I have to check any replacements, because like I said, we don't have any reinforcements here, no units there, but we have some replacement when it comes to the special forces, combat helicopters, air forces, and so on. As for allies, they receive 2 points of the air forces and 2 points of combat helicopters. So it's 3 and 3 for them. And they still have 1 special forces they can use. They already have 1 special forces, so no new special forces for them. As for Russians, they have +2 and +2 for combat helicopters. And for air forces, so they have 4 and 6 now, because they lost 2 in the turn 1. And they have two electronic warfare points. They still have them, and they have 2 special forces units, but they lost 1, so they have only 1. Special forces can't be replaced. Of course, if you get more, you will get additional counters. But if you lost, you have to subtract from this number you can use. While electronic warfare is limited for 1 turn only. So if you have if you had 2 electronic warfare points, you spend them, and in the next turn you have again 2 electronic warfare points again. Of course, there are some scenarios where you have a limit of electronic warfare points you can use for entire scenario, but for this we don't care about this. Okay. So we are starting with Russians, and first we have air phase. Russians are spending 2 of their air points for air supremacy, and allies are spending 2 as well. So we have 2 and 2 on each side. I'm gonna make a roll for Russians. 4 plus 2 is 6. Allies +4 + 2 is 5, so Russians have air advantage again, and they can perform air strikes if they like, but they don't have to. There's no option for this to perform any strikes. So now we move to the artillery fire phase. I still have this artillery unit here. It would love to fire on these Belgian battalions, but can it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, it has 10 hexes range. I'm gonna check if I'm not wrong, but yes, I believe it is 10 hexes. Artillery, yes, 10 hexes. So they are out of range. I cannot fire on them. So I think I will fire on this unit. I'm not going to use my special forces support in this phase, so I'm going to use fire with row 5 points, and this will be, well, quite hard, because they have terrain cover with fortifications, town and hills, so it effectively lowers my chances a lot to the 1-2 combat row. So I rolled. Oh, barely hit, but still a miss. Okay, and that's all when it comes to the... Oh, I forgot that I could use combat helicopters as well to perform a joint strike with artillery. That would be much more effective and I would score a hit, but sorry, my mistake. Okay, next we're going to make a move. I'm not going to move this unit. I'm going to flip this counter, and this stack is going to reorganize itself. It's not going to move, it's not going to attack, it's just going to keep back to normal, and I hope it will be able to be back into action in the next turn. So, now here, 1, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5. 1, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5. And they are moving again. As you can see, here is a mountain road, which is a bit harder to move, because when you have to pay 1 movement point per hex, and also you can't cross a hex on mountain road with another unit. So you have to stack with this unit and you can't move any further. But luckily we don't have any situation like this here. And now this brigade, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is going to move here. They are not moving, and they are 1, 2, 3 to capture this town of Spa. And that's all when it comes to the Russian movement phase. I'm not making any further... Oh, maybe I should. I forgot. 1, 2, 3... Sorry, this is a secondary road, and secondary road for the rocket unit is 1. Yes, I was right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they will be here. And that's all when it comes to the Russian movement phase. Let's go to the Russian combat phase. I have only one combat here, actually. It is here. Sorry, I didn't move the camera further. So this Russian stack is about to attack this Belgian battalion. This will be a harder thing for Belgians, because they are already weakened by the disorganization. We'll see if it will work. So I have 6, 9, so I have 15 and 20. Can I use this artillery? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes! So I had 20 and 25. And I'm going to support this attack with 2 of my air points. So I have now 27 air points. I'm going to place this to remember, 27. And now allies. They have 3 points, sorry, 2 points, and they are halved because of the disorganization, so they have 1 point. And I'm going to use my artillery to support them, so they have 3 points now. Still not much. And I'm going to use combat helicopters. I'm going to spend 2 points of combat helicopters. This will give me 1 point, because combat helicopters have their strength halved when they support the defense. So I spent 2 combat helicopter points, and I have to make a roll if they made it, because for the combat helicopters you roll for air defense every time when you use them. Oh my, I lost 1, so 1 of them is lost, while other 1 can be used, and when I use them I can round them up. So I have 1, it is halved, and it is again 1, so I have +1, so I have 2, +1 for combat helicopters, 3, and 4. 4 against 27 is 7 to 1. Not very good. Not very good. Seven to 1. And now I have a star here, so I have +1 for star. That's all for Russians. And now I have a star as well, so one column shift, HQ, one column shift, and there is a river. River gives me +1, so we have 5 to 1, and there is a town which gives me another +1, so we have 4 to 1. Still, it will be hard for allies to defend against this. 7, B2. Defender has to retreat 2 hexes. 1, 2, and attacker moves forward 2 hexes. Well, this is going to be hard. Oh, I should even used my electronic warfare points. I totally forgot about it. It was my mistake. Sorry again. Okay, and that's all when it comes to Russians. And now Belgians. Belgians have what Belgians can do a little, actually. I'm going to use this artillery to fire on this group. And I will support it with my last remaining helicopter point. So I have 5. I'm gonna roll for AO defense for this helicopter. They are fine, so I have 5. And I cannot use my special forces because they are already spent. So I'm firing with strength of 5. And they are in the woods, sorry, in the forest. And forest is +1 for the defender. So I have 4 +1 for the combat helicopters, so I have 5, and -1 because of the forest, so I have 3 and 4. I rolled 3. Wow, that's good. That's good because this is the disorganization. Wow, allies have a good luck for that at last. So Russians are disorganized, so their advance will be slowed down a bit. And that's good for them. And next we have Allies movement phase. What I'm going to do? I'm going to fortify this one battalion here, while the other will be on the move. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this one will move to Liège. While this is not going to move, it is going to be reorganized. Since it's not moving, it was not fighting, so it will be reorganized. And I think this is all when it comes to Belgians. Also, I think I will do something like that. Where do I have it? Yes. I'm going to blow this bridge here, because it will be harder for Russians to attack. And nothing more, yes, that's all when it comes to the movement phase. And now at the end of the phase, since none of these units fought or moved, they are reorganized. So they will be able to move and perform any other actions in the turn 3. So that's all when it comes to the turn 2 of the game. Alright, we are starting with the turn 3. So let's check for reinforcements. Allies have 1 special forces group, so still they have +3 air forces and +3 combat helicopters. So let's include this. 1 special forces, we still have this one, and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and now for Russians, turn 3, 2 electronic warfare points, 1 special forces group. They already lost 1, so they still have 1, but they can't get more. 2 air forces and 2 combat helicopters. So we have 2 electronic warfare points, 1 special forces group, and +2 air forces, 1, 2, and +2 combat helicopters. So 9, quite big number. Okay, that's all when it comes to the replacements and reinforcements. We are starting with air phase, and as for Russians, I'm going to spend 1, 2, 3, 4 points of the air forces, while Americans, allies will spend 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so Russians have +1, Russians 4, and allies 2. So Russians have air advantage in this turn, and next we have artillery fire phase. What Russians might do? They have this artillery here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this one is in range, but if I would fire on this, I wouldn't be able to attack it with land units, so I don't think I will do this trick. But as for the others, I would like to attack this unit because it is in the town only, but I think it is out of range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Definitely out of range. So I can't do it. I might attack this or that groups. This would be quite hard because of the terrain, which is quite good for them when it comes to the hiding, but well, I might try, nothing hurts. Okay, gonna fire on them, so I fire with 5, and I think I will spend 2 of my air points, so I have 7, and I have 7, and now is this good? -7 -1 because of the town, -1 because of the fortifications, and -1 because of the hills. So little chance for it's a miss. Okay, nothing happened. And next we have nothing. I have only this artillery, so I don't have to mark it. Next we have combat phase, movement phase, and I'm going to use my special forces group to attack this Belgian HQ here. This is a good option because I can disorganize this HQ and it wouldn't be able to support its units in this combat. So I have to roll 11 or 12 to destroy such a HQ, or 7 or 10 or 8 to disorganize it. It will be very hard, but there is still a chance. I rolled 8, so it is disorganized. It is flipped on the other side, and and in the next combat phase it won't be able to support its units. So now next I have to roll for to check if the special forces group survived. 6, it survived, so it is going to the after action box, and it will be available for me in the next turns. Okay, that's good. And next we have a movement phase, and what I'm going to do. First I'm going to reorganize this unit, this stack. Hope it will be able to be used in the next turn. And now I have a dilemma. If I should attack this unit right in front, I think I might try. And if I will manage to do so, I will be able to open my way on the leash. And I'm going to move this group here as well. 1, 2, 3. And they are moving with this artillery to cover it. If not, it might be a target of this infantry unit, so it could be quite hard. Okay, and that's all when it comes to the movement. And I'm starting my combat, the only one I have in this turn. So I have 6, 11, 17, 22, and I'm going to spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of my combat helicopter points. But I have to check if for air defense I rolled 1, so I lost 1, and I still can use 5 of this, which is pretty good. And I'm going to use both of my electronic warfare points here. And now for allies. They are using 4 of their combat helicopter points. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now for their losses. 1, they lost 1, so they have 3, and we half air points when it comes to the defense support, so they have 2, because it is rounded up. And now I can count total strength of both sides. So for Russians, 6, 11, 17, 22, and 27. And for allies, 3, 5, and 7. So I have 27 against 7, it's 4 to 1. Yes, it's 4 to 1. So let's take a chart. I mark as 4 to 1. I gain +2 because of the electronic warfare, 1, 2, and +1 because of the star. So I have 7 to 1. And now for allies. I have 1 because of the star, 1 because of the fortifications, and 2 because of the hills. 1, 2. So it's 3 to 1. Still not a bad situation for Russians. They rolled 6. 6 in the... It is B2. So defender has to retreat 2 hexes. I'm going to remove this uniform, and now 1, 2. And because they had to retreat 2 or more hexes, they have to roll for disorganization. They rolled 7, they are fine. If they would roll 2 or 3 or 11 or 12, they would be disorganized, but they are not. So they are fine, and Russians might perform pursuit. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. When you are performing a pursuit, you have to make it in the such a fashion. You have to enter first of the hex where enemy unit was, and then you can move 1 hex in the other direction, or you can follow the enemy. You can only move 1 hex away from the enemy withdrawal road. Okay, that's all when it comes to the Russian movement, Russian combat. We don't have to check for supply in this scenario. So next we have Allied air phase, but Allies haven't air advantage, so they can't use their air forces, and they're spent most of the combat helicopters. So now we have now Allies might fire their artillery. So I'm going to fire with this artillery against I think this group. We have and I'm going to use my special forces to help. So I gain a +2 from special forces and -2 because there are hills. So I'm firing with 4. And I will use one of my combat helicopters to support it, and gonna make so I have a 5, but I have to check for air defense. They survived. Okay, so I have 5 instead of 4, and I'm gonna make a roll. 2. Wow, it's -1 and a dot. So -1 means that one of these units suffers 1 step loss. So I think I will choose this as a Russian player. and dot means that I have to make a disorganization roll for this stack. Wow, that was very effective fire because they are disorganized. And finally I have to make a roll for this special forces group, if it survives or not. That was bad, it didn't survive, it is eliminated. Okay, that's all when it comes to the artillery fire. And now we have Allied movement phase. I'm going to reorganize this group. This one will withdraw. Why it has to withdraw? I'm going to tell you. Because when you are starting your turn, you are ending your turn movement phase on the hex with enemy units in your zone of control. You have to attack these units in the combat phase. You can also fortify yourself, but you can fortify your unit when you are forced to retreat in the last combat phase. So this unit was forced to retreat, so it cannot stay here and fortify itself, so it had to retreat. Because when you are fortified, you don't have to attack enemy units. So this one will retreat to the Louviers, while this battalion will fortify itself. Okay, that's all. And now I can use this unit somewhere because it is already fine. I think I will move it here to make sure that Russians will not make the shortest road. And I have this battalion here. I don't think it might do any good for me staying here because it is useless. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will take it from this staff loft and maybe it will be more useful somewhere else. So that's all when it comes to the Allied movement phase. I'm not attacking anyone, so I'm fine. And now I can remove these markers, since these units are already reorganized, so they are fine. Okay, that's all when it comes to the turn 3. And thank you for watching this. That's where I'm going to call it a day. And this will be the end of the first part of this video. And see you later in the next parts. Thank you for watching. If you will have any questions, doubts, comments, feel free to leave them below. I will gladly read them.